I'll read a couple of messages and then we go to talk about David Santia Apeatu, is that the name correct? Who has been appointed acting IGP, and issues are being raised, constitutional and otherwise. And also Timibila, Patrick Timibila, you know him. He was interdicted 2015, and now we're told that he has been completely found guilty of the allegations that were put against him about the recruitment scam. How difficult it is to leave the service just when you're about to retire and enjoy all the benefits, then you are stripped of them. Kwekubako says that what happened in the first parliament in 1993 had nothing to do with J.H. Mensah's case at the Supreme Court in 1997. The first Rawlings ministerial nominees were not just retained, even though some of them had been PNDC secretaries of state. They appeared before the committee and testified on oath. In the second parliament, there was an initial attempt to retain them without them appearing before the committee. Hence, J.H. Mensah's recourse to the Supreme Court. There is a fine line of distinction between the two. Thanks for those messages. Now,
on that one, I think that he must have been referring to the point I made.
So
I've written to him,
okay.
And he says that I missed that part. So I wrote to him and said that I recognize this, and I did that submission, that consideration and vetting as an expression of the manifestation of prior approval under Article 78 was done in 2001 for the first time, and J.H. Mensah case was the foundation.
Thank you. So and then Henry Mann says that the issue of Mr. Arthur's sexual orientation and Osafo Mafo's Macmillan and tribal issues had their names mentioned directly, and so there was a need to question them. In the case of Boakye Jaco, his name was not mentioned at all at any point in time, and as far as the scandal is concerned, so this questioning was needless, was wrong. Okay, so those are your views. Hundreds of your messages. I'm sorry we are unable to continue with that. Okay, let me take Prince or Parry. He says that Honorable Mahama Ayariga saying his colleague, Honorable Muntaka, knew the money was a bribe from Honorable Ejako and he, Muntaka, collected it. In any case, why is the entire leadership of the minority mute on the issue? And it's been only Honorable Mahama Ayariga speaking on this issue on the various networks. Okay, they've not been mute, they've spoken to it. Ejako has actually spoken and denied. He said he'll put his life on it, that he never did anything of the sort. The First Deputy Speaker and Chairman of the committee also says that this is not correct and that those who are alleging should prove. Now, Akwesi Asafoe Kwada also says that to think of what the NDC and their minority have started doing is excruciating. Someone who has overwhelming numbers in Parliament will go ahead and bribe the minority, knowing the rules only require a simple majority. Oliver Bamba in Salga says the bribery allegation against Boakye Jaco by the NDC is manifestation of gross incompetence. The last time I checked, Ayariga was not the only member of the NDC on the appointments committee. Can we get the others talking? Akwesi Obeng in the Jusso Bisasi says that I have listened to Honorable Ayariga. He is basing his argument on hearsay, so he should be careful. Nana Ansa Obafor in the UK listening to Ayariga on your show over this deliberate character assassination of Boakye Jaco. It's clear that that is all fabricated just to disturb our ears and waste precious time to discuss relevant and issues of national progress. Kwame, also in the UK, says, I mean, who in their right mind would offer bribe for something they will get anyway? What would be the reason for the bribe? Now, start with you, Malik, on David Santia Apeatu, Timibila, who has now, that investigation we thought we would never get a report. And what a coincidence, the day on which we got to know that he has really been found guilty and relieved.
Have they given us any report? Look, Samson, the circumstances under which Timibila suffered, the fate that he suffered are very strange. On March 6th, 2015, I was on leave, but I passed by the office. I was here when one of the police chiefs they came here, he was in a car, there were other people following him, and then he came and said he was looking for the editor of the at the time. And Evans was on duty, and Evans said, oh, go and see Jifa. Jifa wasn't there. Then Evans said, okay, I'm the editor, talk to me. He said, oh, I have news. When have you ever seen police chief drive to a radio station and say, I have news? What is the news? Patrick Timibila had been interdicted. Interdicted for what? He said, oh, you hold on, let's go and talk about it on radio. This is just a background to the story. So this guy, before we even went on another time, Patrick Timibila was at the celebration. He came from the Independence Square where they were marking the anniversary celebration. And whilst there, I think they told Timibila to go home because they were going to make the announcement that he had been interdicted. It seemed to many that this was a face-saving move by the police at the time because the police administration had been hit repeatedly by scandals upon scandals of recruitment scams. So they asked the man to go home. So this guy comes here and he says, he calls the man, are you home yet? And the man said on the phone, and you could hear, everyone could hear him say, you know what you are doing is not right. He said, God be with you. And Pabeni was telling Timibila, God be with you. And then Timibila gets home. He gets into the studio and then he makes the announcement. How many years down the line, every now and then we go to them and say, where is the evidence? Where is the results? One time they said, oh, they found evidence on his phone. He was exchanging text messages and there was a list where money was paid into his account. But all of that remained the police's word. My point is, if the police as an institution cannot investigate its own, especially leaders of the institution, and do it in a transparent, honest, dignified manner, how can the citizenry be convinced that when they have problems, this same police, they can rely on them for an honest investigation that will bring them closure and resolution to their problems? I think that the police bungled up the matter relating to this man, and I think they should move away from doing any such thing in the future. That if you have allegations against somebody, do the investigations properly and then put out the information. Let people know what the information is. That's how to build confidence and trust in the system.
You don't believe the information that they found his phone, they found some information on his phone confirming the transfers, the monies that were transferred in respect of this.
This was March.
And may I inform you, he was represented by a very capable lawyer in this country in the process.
Samson, this was in March. This was in March 2015. March 2016. We are almost 2 years down the line. You just come and you say, okay, you have dismissed him. In fact, only late last year when we asked the police, they said, oh, we are still investigating. Almost 2 years you are investigating when you have all of this evidence that you are pointing to. If this evidence is conclusive and is credible, why did it take so long? It took such an odious amount of time to come to the conclusion that they came to. What were they waiting for?
So what are you insinuating?
My point is there's more to this story than meets the eye. If you talk to people within the police service, and when the interdiction happened, I spoke to people at the time, there was a certain preparation for insurrection within the police service. And if you talk to people...
Did you say insurrection?
Yes. And they will tell you that the late Awuni was leading it. And it was one of his problems within the police service at the time. And people had to intervene all the way up to the political ladder for him to stay calm, for them to deal with the matter. And eventually, they just came and said, the man has been dismissed.
David Asantepiet, what do you say?
He's a calm person. He's, all through his police career, he's been very, very calm. He's not one to go out and talk. I think he's the one who brings the results. I'm just curious that why is it that they appoint people when they have 1 year to go on retirement as IGPs? Because virtually all of them, they appoint them when they have just a year or two to go on retirement. It doesn't look like you can get to the IGP status when you still have 5 or 6 years to go. But I think he's...
You'll get a contract.
like Mohamed Al-Hassan.
They're actually supposed to be two in contention for the position, and one of them, I understand, had about 6-7 months to retirement.
It's 5.
So his was better.
So 1 year. So, but it's curious. It's something we should look into. Why that is the case? Is it that they don't get promotions in good time, or it's a system? We design a system where we always appoint them to do a few years and they go and we bring another person. But I think he's a solid person. Talking to people within the service, they think he's a strong person, even though he doesn't talk. So he won't threaten us with closure.
There's an overhaul of the system immediately he takes over. Do you understand that situation?
They do that all the time, and it's one of the things that some of us point to when we say we cannot expect the police to enforce law and order in an impartial manner as long as the president has the power to appoint the IGP and the IGP has the power to reshuffle people and send them wherever he or she wants without explanation to anyone. And some of these decisions are motivated by or accentuated by political considerations, whether you like it or not. Once those things continue to pervade our system, we can't expect the police to be impartial when they are dealing, especially with political actors.
Larry.
Yeah, thank you. We're talking about the
police.
The police, okay. I have followed David Asante Apeatu, for a very long time. And if you check on the net, I have a couple of stories, written, when I was working with the Enquirer. And I think Network Herald before, and then, the Herald now. And I noticed that he's, investigated a couple of cases. And these are very high-profile cases. The murder of the CDS's bodyguard, J.B. Dankwa, General J.B. Dankwa, if you recall. And then the serial killing of the women. He also, investigated the MV Benjamin cocaine case as well. He played a role in that. And then investigated the Yana murder. He also investigated the Gambia killings and so on. He was part of it and other things. I won't speak on his competence. But, I mean, like Malik said, why is it that, he just, in August, he's going on retirement. And the Herald, we reported that, the other day. He's going on retirement in August. I mean, how he would, the short time that he has to, what change can he effect as far as the police administration is concerned?
Who's going on retirement in August?
The IGP.
Mr. Apeatu.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes. Mandatory,
the president can extend it.
Sure, but I'm saying that
MPP has criticized it profusely.
Yeah, exactly. Then you don't have to do that. When you do that, you stifle the promotion of others. So he has to go. If you had criticized it before, then he had to go. Keeping Al-Hassan, they also affected, the police, how the keeping Al-Hassan and then keeping, I think, the CDS or somebody was affected, affected Jomama or the NDC to a very large extent, that you were keeping these guys there. And then, it prevented us from getting promotion. Because when you move him, others, also occupy those positions and then they get happy. For which constable would you want to be an IGP one day if he's qualified to be? Now, about Timibila. Malik raised, some very serious issues. We haven't seen the report. Have you seen the report?
No, I have not.
Okay, and I understand that it was Mr. Bright Odro, the current CID boss now, the one who was just promoted. He was the one who led that committee. We would want to see, that report, the content of it, and as journalists we sit and then analyze it, competently or interrogate it, as Kwekubako would say. Also,
there's some intimation that he might hold a press conference and tell us his side of the case.
I would want him to seek a judicial review, go to court, sue the police administration, because just merely...
You believe he's innocent?
I don't, until he goes to court and puts his case before them.
Yes, so you said you want him to do that, and I'm asking, what's the basis? What makes you say that?
Listen, the guy's integrity is at stake. And then he said that, listen, they saw text messages. We need to see bank accounts. Okay, his bank account showing that on this day, Paul Adumotri deposited this money in lieu of this. That he wanted, he wanted to be admitted into the police service. Okay? He wanted to be admitted into the police service. You can't just show text message on phone.
Even though I prefer the Air Force. but it's okay.
Even though you prefer one?
I prefer the Air Force, but it's okay.
Oh, you wanted the Air Force?
Yes.
You are old. You can't follow your father's footsteps.
You didn't show us.
Well, so I mean, you can't just say that. You can't rely on text message as as a proof of his guilt. Bank account, show it, demonstrated. How many witnesses appeared before that committee, and so on. Okay, I think that then you'll be helping to set, clear the man. Or
what they are asking is that what normally goes on, that the investigative committee will bring the evidence that led to the conviction of the person to all of us in the public to see. And when he was talking about needing more than text messages, I was looking at him or you and smiling because I feel a bit conflicted, because initially I got connected somewhere with the issue and I saw some evidences beyond the text messages. I'm not saying whether the evidence was against him or not. There were the bank transfers, payments that had gone in, and several other things, just that I didn't get to be part of the case.
Witnesses came?
It's a judicial process within the police, and that is what should have gone on.
I get a sense that given the extensive media coverage that this matter received, and given the high public interest that this matter generated, and also that the police are the principal custodians of the evidence narrative as an institution, to take such a decision without at least offering that information to another arm of government. It could be Parliament. It could be Parliament's Committee on the Interior, to sit with them and say that this is what we have found on Timibila, so this is the decision we're going to take. And not to do that, not to hold a press conference and say that the matter that we announced that we are investigating, because they told the press that they were going to investigate this. And that presupposes that when you have finished the investigation, you probably will come back and say, this is what we have found. Nothing happened, and then suddenly an announcement that he's dismissed, and now we are hearing that he may be holding a press conference, or is it the police that's holding a press conference? It's a bit, it's disquieting. So perhaps the police have to do more on that. I mean, I don't know what is black or blue or red or white, but being the custodian of evidence and given the high public interest of this matter, there's a bit more they have to say about the conclusions that they arrived at to present this outcome. I don't also know, I didn't look at the sequence, whether the announcement of the new IGP came before the announcement of Timibila. Which one came first?
Almost simultaneously.
Yeah, almost simultaneously.
So it wasn't the new IGP saying it?
No.
And it came from the police public relations department?
Right. The information had been put out, and then they confirmed it.
Yeah. And I'm saying the person who investigated him, right or draw, is not a CID boss.
On Apeatu's appointment, I think he's a great guy. I'm excited about it because I've interacted with him one-on-one several times. On the issue about the time to go, I think it's an issue that we need to look at, because in the recent past, I think Al-Hassan has been one of the IGPs that for me has done an excellent job. But he was one of those who shouldn't have been because of the time that was left. He got a contract for another 2 years or so. But the way in which he changed...
Kudalor also got.
He changed the policing, the character of the policing. Kudalor got involved in this I will ban social media stuff, so it didn't work very well for him. But Al-Hassan was excellent.
But we are talking about extension.
Yes.
We are not talking about,
yes, I know,
social media.
It's something we have to look at, because sometimes you have great people and they may have 1 year to serve. And if they can initiate policy that will take the police far and change this colonial relic that we still have on our hands and make it better for all of us, they should be given the opportunity. I'm not worried about a person coming there. I'm worried about his competence, his experience, and his expertise to be able to deliver. Extension? Yeah, he should get an extension, I think. But it's also like a concern that if he's there, then other people don't get the opportunity. So that's a concern. But I think the first consideration should be his competence, experience, and expertise to change the police. Even if he has 2 months to go, and within that 2 months he can do that, I think the president should go ahead and appoint him.
Interesting.
How about a constitutional issue?
Yes, Sophia.
That would be a constitutional issue. But I think that for me, the appointment of the IG came narrowed down.
What did you say that would be a constitutional issue?
No, he wasn't saying the president has the power.
Issue. He was saying that the issues have been raised about the appointment, whether it's right or wrong, as far as the Constitution is concerned. Because the Constitution says that when you are appointing, you appoint on the consultation of the Council of State and advice with the police council if it is acting. Right. Okay, just hold on briefly for me. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's speak to Joseph Osei Wusu, who is the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament and Chairperson of the Appointments Committee. Thanks for joining us on Newsfile, sir.
You're welcome.
Right. So now you are accused of taking money from Ejako and handing it to Muntaka to be given to the minority members of the committee. What's your response?
First, let me make it clear to you and to everybody else. I've never received money from Ejako. I've never handed any money to Muntaka. Mama Yaga, who I hear is making that allegation, knows that I don't have that relationship with any of them. That I have never discussed money with Muntaka, with Ayariga, with any of the members in the first place. And that allegation is false. He knows he's lying. He is lying and he knows that.
He's lying that they received 3,000 each and later found out that that was not the allowances they were entitled, but it was money that, according to his chief whip, came from you, and you represented that was coming from Ejako?
I'm saying, if he said that he's lying, if Muntaka said that he's lying, I've never spoken to Muntaka, I've never given money to Muntaka, never received money from Ejako or anybody. Yesterday, at the leaders' meeting, I became light when they said that now that Ejako has withdrawn some statement they didn't like, they are happy to say that the corruption allegation was put up because Ejako had accused the president of corruption, and therefore they were sharing the corruption. My anger came down, and when I came to the floor of the House.
Oh, we lost him. We'll get back to him and get to find out whether or not he was supposed to hand out some allowances and whether or not he did that in this regard. But as it appears, this matter is getting even murkier. He says directly that this was lie. We'll try and raise him back. But you were on the floor about these
and I was saying,
Apeatu and Timibila.
For me, 3 people were narrowed down. That was Mr. Pombueno and Mr. Asante Apeatu and Edupoko. These 3 people were narrowed down for the IG's position. It appears that all 3 of them are almost 60. So they will soon proceed on retirement. And in the police service, once you are reaching retirement, you take a 3 months leave ahead of the retirement to be comfortable in your retirement. So for me, as an acting IG, I think the point was very clear for the president that he needed to do that in compliance with the Constitution, in consultation with the Council of State. So for now, Mr. Apeatu will be in an acting capacity. So that settles it. So,
but the Constitution, read further. When you read, it says that if you are appointing for acting, it ought to be done on the advice of the police council.
But do we know whether that advice has not been sought?
Well, he said that he's acting and that he's pending Council of State being formed.
So we don't know whether the police is consulted the police council because this is a case where the IGP, the substantive IGP. Well, no, but I'm saying that this is a case where the substantive IGP had come before the president to proceed on retirement.
He personally came. He told you that.
Well, that's what we were told.
A lot of background things, a lot of things go on behind the scenes.
It's true. I don't have any information that says that the man was forced to go on retirement. But I think between you and I, we all knew that Mr. Kudalor was definitely going to go. He had finished his tenure and a contract period had been added onto him. And seeing that MPP had been very critical of this kind of contract addition to the tenure of the IGP, they were not going to.
Through this means.
Through this means.
Sorry,
I think that is fair. I think that is fair. So I think that unless we have any evidence to show that the president has not consulted the police council, then I think we have to accept it as it is.
And let me go back. Let me go back to continue the conversation with Osei-Wusu. But remind me, your point of Isankuma and Nana Asante-Apeatu, you need to put things in perspective. When the president mails, dismissed or sort of, put some people aside and appointed an acting IG and CDS, they came in to say he had acted unconstitutionally. Yeah. In this case, you have somebody who has retired and then someone else needs to take over. You say this is the situation that they were speaking to. We'll look at that. Now, thank you very much, Honorable, for getting back to us. Now,
sorry. Where I am
right.
is very bad.
Right. You were making a very important point. Conclude on that, and I'll ask my next question.
Yes, the point I'm making is that what Ayaga said, like you're reporting, is a third party information. Go to the source and talk to your Muntaka. Whether I or you have had any discussion with him on money, and whether I've given any money to anybody. I'm saying I've never, ever done that. And I'm challenging Muntaka or anybody. Say that me, as I've received money from anybody, or I've given anybody, or discussed money with him.
Did you promise?
We have had is at the table, all of us, about our allowances, the fact that we have late into the night and members have not been provided dinner, which I think is a legitimate claim. But that is a table.
Hello, Mr. Oseosu, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah, I think we're trying to raise Muntaka on the line. I think that's where you had the interference. So please go ahead. I wanted to ask the question about the allowances. You had promised them allowances. Have you paid them yet?
I don't pay allowance. As the chairman, I raise a member to the speaker goes to the clerk and the accounts person with his best. Often, it will be the clerk to the committee who will be best. I've never been on this committee for, this is my money here. Money has always been dispersed by the chairman, ever. It is always the clerk.
Given that this is a very serious allegation, what are you going to do about it?
Originally, I was considering it as a parliamentary issue. Indeed, the leadership, both sides, have prevailed upon me to take it cool. But now it is going beyond sense of propriety. Ayaga and his boys are transcending the bounds of propriety and decency. They are transcending ordinary party politically. They are impugning my integrity without any basis. And so I'll make a statement on the floor of the House on Tuesday, and after that, I'll take the next step.
You go to court privately? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Interesting. Hold on briefly for me, and thank you very much for joining us, Honorable Muntaka Mubarak.
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Now, it does appear that you are the one who has a solution to this claim. Ms. Ayariga says that you went to Osewusu, took the money and brought it to them, and that you told them it was supposed to be allowances, and that later you still confirmed that it was not, but rather it was from Boatie Jako, and then they returned the money. What do you have to say? Osewusu says he's never giving you any money.
Let me say this. I'm saying this with a lot of difficulty because, I know the rules. When you are in a leadership and any of your members do things rationally, you just keep quiet. But I just want to say one statement, and I will not say anything in addition. I'm a Muslim, and Ayaga is a Muslim. I'm swearing by the Allah that has created he and I never gave Ayaga anything, and I said it was coming from Osewusu. I never said, and Osewusu has never discussed any money issue with me. He has never given me any money to give to Ayaga. I have never given Ayaga or anybody any money saying that it was coming from the chairman. And that's all that I will say, because we are in a leadership, and I think that the leadership will have to take this thing up seriously. I don't know where Ayaga is having this information that is purporting and saying all these things. We had several meetings before we started. We ourselves had agreed in principle that we're not going to take a dime from anybody. That's all I'll tell you for now. I'm on my way to Korea because I'm even late. But I'm saying that Ayaga is a Muslim. I am Muslim. And I'm saying that Ayaga never spoke the truth. I've never given Ayaga any money from Osewusu or anybody.
I'm a bit curious.
Also, Osewusu and I or the chairman have discussed anything of what is supporting.
Can you just answer this quickly? You said that you had agreed that you are not going to take anything from anybody. What did that mean? Did you need to have that? Okay, we have lost Muntaka on the line there. But Honorable Joe Osewusu is still on the line. Are you? Okay. So Muntaka says that the leadership must take this matter up in the House and deal with it. You say you'll make a statement, and after the statement, you would decide to assert your right as a private citizen and go to court.
Yes.
That means that we are going to have, multiple ways of dealing with this matter, isn't it?
No, there's Parliament and there's my personal integrity.
Okay. All right, Mr. Osei-Wusu, thank you very much for your time on the show.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Honorable Joe Osei-Wusu is the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He's the MP for Bekwai, and he's the chairperson of the Appointments Committee. Gentlemen, we have run out of time, but perhaps you are all looking to have this interview done.
Yes.
We've done it with the two of them. Paul, so 1 minute.
So we're right that there was no investigation required in this matter. The big investigation that Larry was suggesting, we were not there yet. We were running ahead of ourselves. Here is the matter settled now. Muntaka says that I didn't give any money to Ayariga and all the allegations about
or any other person.
Yes, and so that's his word against Ayariga's word at this stage. It would appear that Ayariga has seen this coming, because in the conclusion of his statement, he talked about people and God, that he and his God, everybody and his God. The God factor has been applied also by Muntaka using Quran.
He swore. He actually swore.
That he didn't do that. Joe Osei-Wusu is very animated that he actually even wants to go to court. We're looking forward to the statement that he'll make on Tuesday, and it will bring the matter to rest. And I think that the pressure is now on Ayariga to sort of say what I did.
Larry, what do you say, having heard from Muntaka?
I think the parliamentary investigation is still required. Because Ayariga, see, it wasn't just Ayariga. Suini had come out to say that, listen, indeed, I was giving the money. And I was told he had come from, Apeatu.
What do you want beyond what Muntaka has said? This is the man who is said to have given the money. And here he is, not just denying, but swearing by his Quran.
Okay. Here is also Suini, who is also a Muslim, also swearing by his Quran.
Has he done that?
Yes, I think I've heard on a couple of platforms. But he had come out.
Yes, but
must he swear?
Okay.
Or you want Antoine? Must he swear? He's come out to say that, listen, I was giving the money. Okujeto had also said the same thing. But between Joe Wise and then Muntaka, they said, listen, no money has exchanged hands. But Ayariga, has gotten some witnesses.
Okay, I see.
I think parliamentary investigation is
what
required.
Do you say? Haven't heard the two of them.
It's curious. It appears that you believe one side of the story and you don't believe another part of it.
In my case,
the key actors here.
In my case,
please let him speak.
Like the key actors here.
Please, we are running out of time.
The key actor here is Muntaka, because he's the one who is, according to Ayariga, who took the money, who distributed it, to whom the money was returned. He says, and for a Muslim, when a Muslim swears by the Quran, is a serious matter.
Okay, he actually said he swore by Allah.
Great. So when Muntaka says, I have never discussed any money with Joe Osei-Wusu, I have never taken any money from him, I haven't given anybody any money, saying that this is where the money comes from. I'm curious to know, did he give money to the minority members which did not come from?
He says not at all. He says not at all. Why didn't hear him?
And the essential question you asked, which the line didn't permit him to answer, was when they held a meeting to decide that they will not take money from anybody, has that happened in the past? Has it happened in the past that they took money from nominees, that it became necessary to, in this instance, hold a meeting and come to a determination that at this material moment, we are not taking money from any nominee? If it hadn't happened in the past, what would be the necessity for such a meeting and for such a consensus to be reached?
Okay. Now, as I listen to Muntaka and these, and I ask myself, well, with the legal lenses, if a matter was brought up, it's going to be very difficult, given that they don't suggest to us that they have any evidence beyond the witnesses. Your very critical witness is Muntaka. He says never.
And that goes back to emphasize my earlier point. I think I've been exonerated. I saw people on social media saying and all that. You see, this for me exposes the politics. And I said that Ayariga, you are a lawyer. You can't just come and make allegations and run away and then take solace in God. You are not allowed to do that. You can't do that. that your God knows and somebody knows. We don't care. You are saying that you saw, this is what he's saying, you saw Muntaka giving you money. The link to
received the money.
From Muntaka. That's what he said. You received, which means it was personal. You must have saw him. You must have seen him. And now those people, I'm saying that they haven't spoken on this platform. So I don't want to judge what they've said other way, assuming they've actually said it. I'm saying that you are saying that Muntaka gave you money. Now Muntaka is here swearing by Allah, invoking you, your religious belief in Allah. And that's serious. So, and you see, this is a bribery allegation which marks on criminality. So the onus is on you, the person making the allegation, to produce the evidence to substantiate the allegations that you're making. Now, the key witness, like Samson said, is Muntaka. And he's saying that he hasn't taken any money. So now we come back to you. On what basis are we going for an investigation? Okay. You come back to you. Where is your evidence? Where is your... So this for me is...
It does look like from what Joe Ice is saying that even if you wanted to trigger any legal process, it will not be through criminal prosecution, but to seek to vindicate his private rights through suit in libel or defamation, so to speak. But Kweku Bako says that Ayaraga's conduct ought to be referred to the Privileges Committee. The appropriate procedures must be triggered. It is in Parliament's own interest to do that.
Thank you.
I thought Muntaka was talking allowances paid officially to was talking about allowances paid officially to members. Well, we are told that no allowance have been actually paid. They simply raised the invoice and then it went to the speaker and they've not had a feedback. We unfortunately have to end the show at this point, and I'd like to say thank you very much for my guest, Paul Adum Ochre. A man with a lot of political insights and depth. And also, Efia Pokwa, she is Gladys?
Yes.
Gladys Atta.
Strangely.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Gladys Atta, she is the editor at Adum FM. Malik Abbas Dabu is the editor, My Joy Online, and the deputy on the political desk on Joy. And also Larry Lance Dogbe. He's the editor of the Herald newspaper. I'm Samson Ladi Anyanini. Thank you to Ayariga, Joe Wise, and Muntaka Mubarak. Have a good afternoon.